I want to get to that, but I have a larger issue. I want to get to Andrew Lester, but I have a larger issue that I want to talk about. And it's just, I don't know when we got to this point where human life is just, we don't feel like it's important
Right.
at all. And I'm not talking about everybody. I'm generally speaking.
Yeah.
We are letting loose with shots. Just the other day, I forget where it was. A young girl, I think it was down in Florida, maybe in Florida. Young girl basketball went into a neighbor's lawn by accident. The neighbor went over, shot her and her father, and is on a run. This disregard for human life, I don't know where it's really coming from. And you really only see these things happen in America. Do other people die from gun violence in other countries? Absolutely. But here in America, that's the American way, baby. We're going to shoot people. And these aren't stand your ground type situations, right? Because there are situations where somebody's trying to break in your house and you got to let loose. And that is what it is. And I respect that. But Ralph wasn't doing anything. He was ringing on the doorbell. It was his mistaken house.
Yeah.
Kaylin, they were just lost. I don't know how many times I've been lost back in the day before there was a GPS, ladies and gentlemen. You would get lost, right? I don't know how many times I would get lost in neighborhoods trying to find a friend's house or a party or something like that, pulling into somebody's driveway just to turn around. Now the idea that somebody would just let loose, not run out. He didn't run out and confront them, find out what was going on. He just started shooting. I'm talking about Kevin Monahan up in New York. He just started shooting. And the young man, Pedro Rodriguez, like these are young teenage cheerleaders. They're like, they showed the picture of Peyton. She's like this little itty bitty thing. I don't understand how you would get so angry that you're going to point blank range, shoot people in the car. They have no way to defend themselves. They're not a threat to you. And you just letting loose. And the talk of these weren't AR-15s, so we can't say they are AR-15s. But what we can say is it's just too easy for people to have guns. People should be able to have guns. But if it's not so easy to pass your driving test, maybe it shouldn't be so easy to get a gun.
Right.
And I know plenty of people that have failed driving tests. I ain't gonna name no names.
I mean, I'm one.
I was alluding to that, but I wasn't gonna name no names.
Technically, I did fail my driving test, and he gave me my license anyway. Because at that point, I was just grown. And he was like, you know what? It's good enough. And so that is me. Another problem, and I was talking about this with our brother earlier, is the issue of the stand your ground laws themselves that these states have. It's essentially giving people carte blanche to just enact vigilante justice. I mean, in all of these instances, if there were not stand your ground laws, everyone would have called 911. You didn't have to answer the door. You didn't have to come outside. You didn't have to go after this young lady if you thought that these kids were up to no good. That's what 911 is for. That's what the police is for. But because we have these stand your ground laws, and I think about 35 states that are in addition to self-defense laws that we have. It's like, why do you need stand your ground and self-defense laws? You don't. Stand your ground just gives people, like I said, carte blanche to just enact their own style of justice. And I'll tell you, when I did gun safety training, what our teacher said was, you do not pull your weapon as a first resort. It's the last. It's the absolute last. If you can't get away, if you can't call the authorities, if there is just literally nothing you can do and it's your life versus theirs, that is the only time you pull your weapon. And when you pull your weapon, you better be ready to discharge it. Like, it's not a threat. A gun's not a threat. It literally can the purpose of a gun is to take a human life. That's the point. A gun is, there's no other purpose for a gun. Yeah, you can go hunting with them, blah, blah, blah. But the reason why they were manufactured, the reason why they were invented was to take human life.
Well, we kind of knew this during George Zimmerman. I mean, we knew this,
Mhm.
what was that, 10 years ago now? 10,
Maybe
11 years
close to
ago?
15. Yeah.
Uh, LeBron James was in Miami. So it was somewhere between 2010 2014.
Mm.
All right. So yeah, but we've known that because that was a bullshit case. I'm not supposed to be cussing on this, but whatever. I'm upset
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
That was a bullshit case in and of itself because you're chasing me.
Yeah.
I'm going to defend myself because I'm whooping that ass. You
Yeah.
can shoot and kill me. But I
The
saw
person who had the right to stand their ground was Trayvon.
right. I you're not gonna like this. You're not gonna like this next take.
Okay.
And I'm talking specifically about Andrew Lester. Oh, before I get to the Andrew Lester, I did and this is gonna go to my point. It's gonna roll into Andrew Lester. So on Monday, all that stuff popped off, right?
Mhm.
The shooting with Ralph happened the week before, but the shooting of Kaylin happened like that weekend. So Monday, that was the first thing on the news. And on Monday, they finally decided to charge Andrew after all these protests and they realized that these people ain't gonna go away because Andrew
Mhm.
went home that night.
Yeah.
So on Tuesday morning, I said, I'm gonna do a little case study.
Mhm.
So I went on foxnews.com because surely they're gonna have articles on what's going on in the world today.
So
So
you just determined to hurt your own feelings.
no, it was you're going to understand where I'm going with this once I explain it. So I go on foxnews.com and sure enough, the first article is something about Biden did something illegal. If you like that clip, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to catch up on all of our latest content. Don't forget to hit the notification button when you do subscribe so you can get updated every time we release content. We release content every day, whether it's an actual show or clips from the shows. So go ahead and subscribe, like, comment. Also, don't forget our Patreon page where you can find our Talking Straight Ish and After Hours Uncensored episodes. That's patreon.com/unsolicited perspectives. But once again, thank you again for listening to Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, and I'm going to catch you next time. I'll holla.